Okay guys, we are going to do a quick little review in this video about Excel and the introduction to Excel. Okay, now there's a lot of stuff about Excel. It can be very, very complicated, but don't worry. We're going to go over it in class. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask. So we'll go step by step. By the end, you guys will know it. You'll be experts. Okay, first of all, we got to access Excel. Okay, so on your computers, down here in this taskbar, you should have all of your applications for your computer. And you should find the Excel application down here, all right? So if it is, you can just double click on that and it'll come up, okay? There we go. I've already opened up one, but you guys would probably open up a new one, okay? If you can't find it down there on the taskbar, you can just go to the Finder. Go to the Finder, and then go here on the left-hand side under the Favorites. If you go under Applications, that'll show you all the applications you have on your computer. You can see Excel there. Same thing, just double-click that. Okay, so let's open up a new one because I want you guys to see what it would be like. Okay, so let's imagine that. Let's do this. Let's close this. Save that. We'll just save that as book one. Okay. So let's quit Excel as well. Oop. There we go. So class has started. Mr. Heston says, all right, open up Excel. So I go down here to my taskbar and I'm going to create my first file. You'll see this. You'll see all these different little icons and wizards that would help you form a book. But we're going to do a blank one. We're going to start with a new one. Click on blank, and this shows you everything that you need to start with when you have a blank Excel worksheet. All right, so I'm going to open up mine that I have already created, which I've called book one. Okay, and we're just going to review some terms here. All right, so the whole thing that I have here is known as a worksheet. Okay, and in my worksheet, I can have columns. Okay. All these different columns that we have in worksheet in Excel. And then on the left, we've got rows, okay? In each one of these rows, we're going to put in different sets of data or information that will go along with each item, okay? So that leads us to text labels, okay? Usually what you'll do in Excel is in the columns, you're going to create a whole different category for each item. Okay, so here in column A, I've got the type of fruit. Okay, let's imagine that I'm a store and I'm stocking all my fruit. Okay, so in this column, I'm going to put all the different types of fruit that I've had. Okay, in this column, I'm going to put the price of each fruit. And in this column, I'm going to put how many I need. I might need to order items here. Okay. And in this column, I'm going to put the actual cost, the total cost of each apple, orange, and banana that I have in my store. Okay, so those are text labels then. There we go. We got those highlighted. Those are text labels. Okay. Now, you see this little border here. Okay. That tells me that I've clicked on an active cell. So every time I move down to a different box, it'll highlight that box. That box is now an active cell, and you can see that the information that is in that cell or that box is also up here, okay? And that's going to be important because we're going to come back to that. Okay, so when I click on a new box, that's actually called a cell in Excel. Okay, so each of these boxes is a cell. When I click on it, that is now an active cell, which means that I can put information in there if I want to, okay? Just put some information in there. According to this, the total cost of apples is SD, which doesn't make any sense. But don't worry, we'll make sense out of that. Okay? So, the other thing I'd like to point out is a cell reference. If I ask somebody in class, I say, how many apples do I need? Well, you'll say 3, which is great. That is true. I need 3 apples apparently in my store. But Excel doesn't know from 3 from, what if I put 3 in here? Wow, Excel doesn't know the difference between this 3 and this 3. So that's where we come to cell references. So if I asked you how many apples you needed, you would say 3, and you would refer to the cell reference. We start with the column. So the number of apples needed is in column C. Then I go to the row, and that shows me how many apples. So C2 is the cell reference for the number of apples I needed. Okay, so a cell reference then, use the column first, then the row number. Okay, so that is active cells, cell reference. Okay, now we want to figure out the total cost of each one of these items. All right, that leads us to formulas. This is a really cool thing that we can do in Excel. Instead of doing my math here, all right, I can let Excel do the math for me if I put in a formula. Now, when we do a formula, all right, every formula that we do, no matter what it is, has to start with an equal sign, okay? There are 2 ways to import information in an active cell. One is I can go to this cell here, and I can just put it in there. Oops, oh, I want equals, okay? And as you can see up here in this little bar, this window, it puts in what I put in. Now when I do formulas, I just like to work on it up here just because it's bigger, it's easier to see. So total cost then is, as we know from math, the number needed times the price, okay? I can imagine that the price of each apple is $1 and I need 3 of them. So I need to figure out what is in this active cell times this active cell. So that's where cell reference comes into play. So I need to equals, tells me I'm going to do a formula. I need to do a formula, this cell times this cell. Well, the number needed is C2. And see, once I clicked on it, it automatically selected it for me in the formula bar. Or, if I don't want to click on it, I can just type it in, C2, all right? To multiply, don't forget, the multiplication symbol in Excel is that fancy little star. So I want to do C2 times B2, all right? That tells me that I'm going to multiply this column, the number needed, by the price of each one, all right? Once I hit on enter, it should give me the cost, all right? Now, we're going to go into values as well, all right? The values, we can change the values of what we put in these columns. For example, this is text, apple. It's just a word, it's a noun, right? But these are numbers. Numbers are a different value, all right? Later lesson, I'm going to show you how to change those and how to specify those, okay? But that's all I want to do for today. And now we're going to save this, okay? So we're going to save our first Excel sheet. Now, we go to File, Save As. Like I said, I always love to save my stuff at desktop. That's where I know where I keep it. So I'm going to call this Excel Lesson 1 and just save it. And then I'll close out of it, okay? Excel Lesson 1, there you are. I'm going to save that in my good old-fashioned ICT folder that I had you guys do in class. Oops. I can just left-click on it, drag and drop it into there. Okay? And that is it for this lesson. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in class.